that assists families going through cancer treatment financially, that type thing.
What got you into cosplay?
I was my husband's +1 at conventions, and I got tired of being Jay's wife. Not that sounds really bad, but that's what I was known as. Oh, that's Jay's wife. I was just the +1, and I decided that was around the time of Battlestar Galactica Renew, the new series, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to throw this costume together, and I'm just going to see how I like it. I was Cara Thrace and loved it. Been cosplaying ever since. Started making my own stuff about 6 years ago. In fact, I taught myself how to sew because I was tired of having to try to find the pieces that actually fit and in good quality. So it was kind of a weird thing. Nobody told me sewing spandex was supposed to be hard.
It's so hard. It's so stupid.
Yeah, thinking it's
really
easy is a bit of a stretch.
It's so,
The thing is nobody told me it was supposed to be, so I would just do it. And honestly, I find sewing cotton and woven fabric so much harder.
because now you're used to the synthetic
Because I'm
stuff.
used to the stretch and the non-raveling.
Right,
so
right.
I've started getting more into the vintage fashion. So I'm getting better at woven fabrics. That type thing. Yes.
Okay.
My Yondu puffins. I have to show. It is the galaxy.
Yes.
I love this coat.
Hey, I live there.
So much.
Yeah.
Somewhere around, actually around your armpits.
But we don't want you to live there. I think that was Alderaan. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Life of Cosplay. I'm actually active duty military, and I've been cosplaying just 1 year into my military career, so roughly like 12 years. I started out because I was like, oh, that looks like fun, and then I can't go to a convention as a normal person anymore.
First of all, normies weird me out.
I can't do it.
Fair.
So I don't usually sew and make my own stuff. Sometimes I'll style wigs. Occasionally I've sewn like 2 or 3 of my own costumes. But as someone who started cosplaying in Japan and Korea before I started cosplaying in the US, their culture is way different for cosplay. Most people buy their own. The cosplay competitions are more like performance based and not so much like, let's see how much the handmade is.
The craftsmanship.
So I started my cosplay career like not even considering that like it needs to be handmade. I have made a lot of props and have had some mishaps and stuff too, but for the most part I buy used so I can justify continuing to purchase for my hobby, which is very expensive.
It's a very expensive hobby. So hi, I'm Joanna Martini. I'm a DC area drag artist, cosplayer, theater performer, blah, 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 all the things. So I've been cosplaying for about the entirety of my drag career. So I've been doing drag for about 10 years. We say 10 years because it like rounds out better. It's been longer than that, but we don't talk about how old I am. But my cosplay really influenced all of my drag. So like all of my drag is influenced by cosplay and or by nerdiness and fandom in general. And yeah, so I've been doing this for a long time. I've been reading comic books since like 1989. Shut up. So
Shots fired.
I've been around for a while. Cool. Whatever. Okay, so what this panel is we're just going to talk about like some of the mishaps that either we have experienced either while building stuff or while at an actual convention or show or whatever. So we're going to start with the slide that I just made for Life of Cosplay.
Literally this morning.
Yes.
That's my Roxanne Wolf cosplay. I got those big pink blocks of foam. And I hand carved out with like the box cutter. I did not have the proper equipment. I like hand sawed that entire thing out.
Oh my God, that is
it's like 99% accurate. It's dangerous, but I haven't cut myself yet. I have not cut myself in any cosplay constructs yet. Not even in cooking, nothing. Which is weird because I'm a klutz.
It's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll happen tomorrow. That's fine. I won't have to work tomorrow.
We'll have to wait for cosplay.
So yeah, I made that. That's about 99% accurate. I do not own the game Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, but my fans, when I was talking about it, they went into the game and took screenshots and sent it to me. I have a really cool, amazing fandom. I hand wefted the front area together. It's called ventilating.
So down here.
All the keys are hand cut out from thick foam, which I measured. I knew there were exactly 22 keys of the white keys and like 11 of the black keys. And so I measured how many could fit in. And it was a lot of measuring, a lot more than I thought.
There's so much. Again, so not to interrupt you, but
But
like
to interrupt.
cosplay and like stuff, it's like you forget how much math actually goes into all of the measuring and the like figuring out like where stuff goes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I took calculus 4 times in college. We won't go into it, but again, I'm not a math person. And it's like, why do I have to learn so much math?
Whereas I loved math analysis, trigonometry. I
It's just
love
like,
that.
no, I planned all this shit out. It was great.
I had no idea what I was doing, but it worked out. I had like a little piece of cardboard. I had a very big box because I just moved to the area of cardboard. It is very long. So I cut out a thick piece and I was like, if this foam thing doesn't work, I could just paint the cardboard and still make it. The thing about this is I can actually attach a guitar strap to it from the back and it will strap on. I even made like the little tiny piece of foam where you usually hook a strap onto, and there's an aux cable plug-in where you could plug, like I shoved that into the foam. So when I say it's 99% accurate, it is 99% accurate.
That is so cool.
There are like buttons and rivets. The rivets are made out of the eyeballs, the little jiggly eyeballs. The buttons are cut out of foam and painted. There's a little glowing part in there too. I'm a little obsessed.
So, what issues did you have while making this that maybe had to like redo, or like the things that you struggled with in making this?
So the thing about it was all cut from one piece, which meant that arm area. You see where my hand is at the top of it? It's very brittle. It broke off. But I just so happened to have like hairpins and stuff, so I would take these very long hairpins, shove them into one side of the foam, shove them into the other, and just put a little glue on it. And it's actually more sturdy now because it has a structural support than it was before. I'm like, I guess this will work. My friend felt so bad because she's the one who broke it. And I'm like, no, don't worry about it. I think I know what's working, how it's going to work.
Yeah. What about making the wig? Did you have any issues with ventilating?
Yeah, I had an issue with the wig. That took me like 5 hours to make that tiny little strip. So I will never do that again, but now I am a professional ventilator.
Right. All the skills that we learn.
Why does anybody make professional wigs? I don't know. I understand the price now.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about just like making the costume in general, like the skirt or the top?
So
or
the
whatever?
skirt was what I planned eventually, and you can see in that purple photo how I am wearing the skirt. I did like a makeup test and everything, but when it came to the actual photo shoot, I realized it just didn't work right. So I bought a pair of hot pants, and then I wore those instead. I also cut the shirt. The shirt was a long sleeve, and I cut off the sleeves and I turned them into. You might not be able to see it, but they're shoulder pads. I just took a piece of foam and glued on the stretchy fabric and painted it. And then I literally just wedge it underneath my bra straps and it doesn't move.
Work. I love.
Hey, whatever works. You know?
I don't like to sew. I'll just figure ways around it.
Also, same. All right. So, Violet, we have 2 different cosplays here that you may have had issues with. So, do you want to talk about how, like, the things that happened and what you did to overcome them?
We've all been there.
Girl, we've all been all
like,
of these places.
oh, the memories.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
There's nothing I can say about this. It's just creepy, and I don't like it.
So
That's fair.
so
Contemplating deleting it from my Instagram page.
Fair.
That is totally fair.
So with this one, did you guys eventually do this again, or is that
No,
just a
I'm never
cosplay
doing
that
this again.
Do you know that TikToker that makes those bird masks? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like he makes talking masks that you can also wear. That would have been a really good thing for that. So cover the mouth and nose.
That's sticky though.
So what did you not like about this?
Everything.
That's fair.
Cool. Can you stretch
Totally.
that into a 10-minute conversation about what you like about
If
it?
you could do something different, what would you
Yeah,
do?
yeah, yeah.
There you go.
That's a good question.
Not use that paint. I got other paint that's actually like professional paint. That was before I got that, and that was like, it didn't even dry. It wasn't working.
Oh,
What kind of
so,
paint
so,
was
so,
that?
so the makeup didn't dry. So yeah, what was that paint?
It's called like CC Beauty. They sell on Amazon. There's a bunch of colors on it, and it never dries. It's like wet all the time.
What
So
about,
every
what
time
about
she
powder?
touched and tried to blend colors,
I might-
it was just
I
mud.
might have to see.
Mud.
Oh, okay.
Mud. And then the beak, she had tried drawing it on, and then I was like, here, and I made that of a sticky note because it looked worse when
Oh,
she
this
tried
is
to
little.
paint it.
This
As
is
a
little.
sticky
This
note,
is
yes.
literally a post-it.
A little post-it.
Oh,
I
that's
live.
amazing.
I live.
I actually love the fact that it's a post-it.
Yeah.
I can see that.
She tried drawing it, right? On like drawing it realistically on her face. And then the paint's yellow on top of that. Just picture it. And then
Yeah.
Yellow doesn't show well on the
So
face.
she had
Yeah, I
to
know.
redo it. And then she
doesn't.
was just like, I hate this and I don't want to do it. But because we do daily cosplay,
I
we
was in
couldn't
a
just like
conference.
wait till like figure out another solution. We were already on the Scissor 7 week. She had
Right.
done all the other 6 characters. So it was like,
Right,
because
right.
we planned them weeks, themed out. So
Right, everyone, this is Jill. This is Violet's mother.
It says Jill Violet's mom,
Yeah.
literally right there.
Violet's
she's known
mom.
as Jay's wife. I'm known as Jill Violet's
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah,
Jay?
pretty much.
Like,
So, but
Jay
what about
upstairs,
this
I think?
Jay
Bender
Smith?
cosplay? Because I was gonna say I haven't seen you as Bender. So, like, what
That was
was?
for this
Not
week,
that Joe.
because
Different Joe.
Got it.
Jason.
Billy West was here.
Yeah.
We were like, let's do Bender. But like 2 weeks ago, she was like, no. Because I had the Zap Brannigan. She was like, no, we should do Bender. And I was like, okay. So the weather was not the best, though. Because,
It's freaking cold.
Yeah.
so we were spraying, and it would just drip, 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 drip. It wouldn't dry at all, and it was drip, 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 drip.
Yeah,
And
spray's
so
only
when you
good for
look
like
at
the
it,
warm
it looks
weather.
horrible. And like the paint just didn't look right, and then we didn't get to finish the eyes, and it was also time management and weather.
That was kind of my fault. I kept wanting to go outside for excuses, so I wanted to do that.
Well,
but I
because
was
she
rushing
said, no, trust me, mommy, the weather's good for spray painting, because she wanted to be outside.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, do this. Go spray without anything, and if the wind just takes it, it's not good to spray.
It didn't.
And she was like,
It
no.
didn't. But it didn't.
And then she comes back up, she's like, I don't know.
So, is Bender a cosplay that you eventually want to finish? Yeah. So what do you want to do, or what are you going to do to then make it be complete? Like what steps are you gonna take in order to like make this better?
Probably do spray painting again, because it was like, it looked yellow. The drips looked yellow.
Okay.
Bender's just rusting, that's all.
Ooh, yeah.
I like that.
He's rusting.
We had to finish the pants. The head was almost complete. What else did we have to do?
So I was gonna say
Arms.
like the foam work
pretty
is
good.
good.
It looks
So-
like Bender.
Yeah. Again, it looks like Bender. So what are you planning to do for the eyes?
Oh, we already had that's a picture before the eyes that we had to put on.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want the things to get spray painted and stuff. But it's like a plastic ball, and then my mom cut half of it and put it in there, and then put fabric under, like, where the hole is, and then put there, and then, like, what'd you use for the eyes?
You know those little terrariums that they sell at the Dollar Tree?
Yeah.
They're plastic, you put the little plant in it. So we can slice that in half.
Oh.
Because his eyes
Okay.
are
That's
huge and like
smart.
popping out.
So I was saying, have you guys seen the Bender who's here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's not wearing it, so it's much smaller.
Yeah. Okay.
Violet fits in there.
Oh, Violet actually like goes
Violet's
inside
going
of that.
inside of that, yeah.
First of all, I need to see you inside of this. That
I
looks...
saw that Bender has been railroad.
Yeah. All right.
Bender's gonna be fun.
All right. Dame Dahlia.
Yeah.
So I know one of your stories is Batwoman. She had to scroll through all of her social media. I mean, it's Batwoman photo. But what are some of the things that you have run into?
Well, I left my parrot umbrella at home.
Oh, Womp, 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 womp.
So my husband was like, well, just wear jeans and a t-shirt. I'm like, what?
What's jeans and a t-shirt at a convention?
Exactly.
Absolutely
I mean,
not.
granted, it is a really cool Disney villain t-shirt, and I would have enjoyed it. But, I'm like, no, I'm just going to wear it anyway because I love it. And it's a galaxy on the inside. But with Batwoman, I was at I've done Batwoman for years, and she is one of my favorite characters of all time to cosplay. And I was at a charity event with children, and I was up and down, kneeling up and down for pictures and stuff, and then I knelt down and I heard felt a distinct rip. Not only did the zipper split, but the whole backside split.
Well, you have a cape. It's okay.
But I had a cape, and I just stayed on the
Just keep
ground
going with it.
and just kept right on going, and very thankful that I had a cape
That's professional behavior.
because
Professional.
I couldn't have just left and said, "Oh, gotta go, bye, sorry." No, I couldn't do that because these kids were waiting for pictures.
You had a bat call. A real emergency happened.
I
Batman needs
did.
you.
I really did. I love that Black Canary. With my Black Canary, DC one, the one with the microphone. I almost became X-rated.
Oh!
On purpose?
No.
A scandalo.
Yes. You can't see it because the photographer was quite good and I was always covering, but that shirt is like here and my bra comes up, but somehow I twisted and the bra lace kind of went the other twist. It was bad. I learned the importance of tape. So whenever I wear that, I get taped into it because I don't want to show things that should not be seen.
Right.
You could also have some little band-aids too, just in case.
I've thought about that too.
Just a little emergency in your little, I don't know. Oh, I was about to say your bat belt, but never mind. That's a Black Canary.
Yeah, it is. But Black Canary. I love the microphone. I love the DC bombshells. I do a lot of them. That one though, I don't know if I actually will wear it again, simply because it is really a bit more risque than I care. Maybe if it was like, the dance party at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night at a con, when it would be more appropriate. But yeah, you're not going to see me walking around the con wearing that during the day. Maybe on a Sunday. No, my mother would scream. The Carol Mouseketeer, that issue, the biggest issue with that is with wigs. They're really soft and silky, and so hats and ears and stuff, they don't tend to sit well. And I have the same thing with my 50s Poison Ivy, and with this one. This is how I fix that. So then it doesn't fall down.
That's what I do with it.
You just kind of, you have to figure it out. At first I thought, I could just put a comb in with my hats and it works, but combs won't fit it
It's like spread on your face.
Yeah, this wig does that.
Yeah.
But with the comb, it's not enough grip to hold on to it. And you may have seen me yesterday morning wearing that. It was one of the reasons I changed out of it because my hat kept falling off. And I only had this one headband and I wasn't going to take it off of this hat, put it on that hat, and then have to re-put it on this one. I'm like, no, I'll just change into the queen and I'll be fine. And I was. But you just have to go with it. Mistakes are going to happen. You're going to forget stuff. You're going to forget key parts of your costumes. it happens, you know. You can't be Mary Poppins without the parrot umbrella, but you make it happen. Yes, I'm still kicking myself. I'm really sad. I really am sad that it is a glorious
I recognize
umbrella.
that bridge.
So these 4 cosplays I had issues with when I wore them. So the first one is the original Batgirl, Bet Kane. So this wig is stunning, right? It's stunning.
I love that wig.
It's
gorgeous.
It's two
I bet
wigs
it's
put
heavy.
together, and it's
That checks out.
very heavy.
It looks
Also
heavy.
checks out.
So it wanted to escape off of my head the entire day.
Do you have short hair or long hair?
So at the time I had very short hair.
Oh,
So
okay.
there was nothing for it to like
grab onto.
but it's very heavy. So my
Freak out
girlfriend,
is like
my dear friend who did that wig for me, did not warn me that this wig was going to be
A runaway.
super heavy. So as you can tell, this is literally a selfie in the hotel before then we went down to the con floor. By the time we got from here to the con floor, it had already escaped halfway back on my head.
Oh no.
So then we're at the con and we're trying to do the thing. So my friend
like
Dax is literally like, "Girl, I got you," and like pulling it and like we're trying to pin it into anything that will stick. Also, fun story: I broke my foot before this convention. Literally at the convention before the convention. So I was also like, my foot hurts. Anyway, so this was not a
My foot hurts.
yeah, this was not a fun day for me. But she looks stunning in this picture. and
That
that's
wig
all
is
we care about.
glorious.
That
It
is
looks-
the
it
lighting
looks-
is incredible.
It looks
It really
stunning.
Is that
And
natural lighting from the window?
This is natural lighting from the hotel room, like the hotel room at the door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now it's slightly retouched. All I did was
That's what
just
you
like
do.
blend in the lace to my forehead. But other than that, that's what I looked like.
What kind of editing app do you use to blend it?
Facetune.
Oh, okay. Yep. Got
Yeah,
it.
that's a good
Facetune
one.
too.
So, Darkstar. Darkstar, I love her. She's a very little known Marvel character from the universe. I love the suit. So the suit is just a dye sub, so she's very easy. Just zip her up. We're in it. We're doing it. However, the headpiece. My friend who makes a lot of my headpieces, so he made this one, and he made a Batgirl and Darkstar. He was like, I don't want this to hurt your head, so I'm going to put a little piece of foam right here at that point.
That's
in
gonna
the
be a
middle of my
pressure
forehead.
point.
And all it was this one little piece of foam
Oh no.
in the middle of my head. So if you're a convention girl like I am,
You know.
you're wearing that for 10 to 12 hours.
Yes. Ouch.
When I finally took that headpiece off,
I could
I
feel
had
it
a
now.
hole in my forehead.
Yeah, you need more
Quite-
pieces of foam.
Quite literally a hole in my forehead.
That hurts me.
That's the same with the Sailor Moon tiaras. A lot of them will be like,
So how I
That hurts me.
so now that I know that that's a thing, we have put more foam in it, so it's not as like this one pressure point in the center of your forehead. But also, I just don't wear her for 12 hours anymore. Like I know that Darkstar has a time limit. She's 3 to 4 hours.
she's
and
a star
then-
after dark. And
yeah,
then
yeah,
she's done.
and then she's done. So Cerise. So if you can kind of recognize that. Obviously, I wore that outside here last year. So Cerise,
Took that picture.
you did take that picture. She's very lovely. She's very stunning. I love her. However, that wig, it's actually 4 wigs put together.
Why do you
all
do
of the
these things to
colors.
yourself?
Drag.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Originally,
glorious,
when I
Oh,
finished the
man.
wig,
but God,
it was what
my
it's supposed to
head
be, which
hurts.
that the black part sticks like straight up and then it fans out and it looks stunning. However, by the time I wore it, and then we wore it all day here at the convention, and then we took these pictures after all of our panels during the day, she looked like this. It's just a little sad clown. Just a little sad clown.
I think
She's
she still
kind of
looks great.
droopy.
Thank you. So the other part, which is something that now I know in my brain, she's also made out of complete. All of those fabrics are all pleather.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
When I tell you that when I took it off,
Oh no.
and there were puddles inside of my knees.
Oh no.
Puddles.
Been there,
Because
done
the
that.
only exposed skin that I
That's how I
have
did with.
is this and this.
I had that with Batwoman.
Puddles.
I-
Puddles inside.
Hopefully
inside
she's
my face.
machine washable. No!
Turned
'cause
her
it was
inside
clutter.
out, sprayed her with Lysol and Febreze, and just let her stay for a while.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then spray it again.
Con cleaning.
Exactly. Just, I have not worn her since.
I
Fair.
don't blame you.
Again, completely non helpful. So then Boomer, on the end there, my friend made the shoulder
was
pads, the thing, and around her waist, you can't really see it in this picture, are little like, because she's very 90s, and like the comic books of the 90s were all
pockets.
about the pockets and the pouches.
Yeah.
So they glued pockets all over the
Directly
belt.
to the costume?
No, to the belt.
Okay.
Okay.
However,
The glue started falling off.
because I'm a drag queen,
I can feel that.
and they didn't glue them thinking about like my body, anytime I moved, one of the little pouches
Yep, they're supposed to sew it
popped
on.
out. Yeah,
not
yeah.
glue it on.
Should've been sewn on.
Popped off. So again, like now that I know, and the thing is, so they covered foam pieces in fabric to look like a pocket. So now that I know that that's what it is, I'm gonna sew them.
Yeah.
The next time I wear it on the actual belt,
Big brain.
because it's also like, so shoulder pads comes down the front through the titties and around a belt. So it's like if you sew them on all of this, they won't pop up. But like they were just like. Anytime I was like, oh, I need to grab this. Oh, I want to bend over for that. It was just like they were just like shooting all over the place. But yeah, so that's that.
You could also get little belt clips and put on them, like for cell phones.
Oh.
And then they will just slide on. That's what I do for Batwoman, because then I can just pull them off.
Oh,
They
then
were
we
made
can
of
pull
foam
them
at
off.
that time.
Yeah.
Which was,
So
Man.
we have
It's
about
a great idea. You know, that's what I use
15 to 20 minutes left.
because I did the glue.
Is
thing
there
once.
anything that you all have questions on? Things that you would like to have some advice about?
we could just talk for days.
Exactly.
We
can-
could.
yeah.
So I like to make certain pieces. I'm not a professional by any means. I'm very much a novice, but I can count like more than the digits on my hands how many times I've burned myself with hot glue. So what kind of glue would you recommend? So I can save myself the hot
Also, are you
E600.
a drag queen?
E6000.
E6000.
Or
Outside.
Gorilla
Not
Clear.
inside.
Or
But
wear
that's what I'm
gloves while you're
thinking. If I'm not able to be outside, and I do
Oh,
6,000.
well, once you finish gluing it, put it outside or put it in a more ventilated area like the bathroom where you could turn on the vents or something. My first cosplay ever, I handmade Princess Peach's crown, and I E6000 every single chain and like gem and everything on this crown. I had no idea what I was doing, but it looked great. But I was doing it indoors, very close to it, and like my face was super close, and I'd done that in a non-ventilated area, and I saw the warning label like a year later said, do not use indoors in an unventilated area. So maybe open up a window and do it near then, and then keep it there. And like keep it overnight, maybe clamp it if you can, it'll have a better grip. If you're doing plastic on plastic, there's like this injector tube that has two different tubes together that like combines. And it's a very, very good glue for like fixing plastic things together. But that is better than E6000. Yeah, ventilate outside. It'll cure longer, or it takes longer to cure if it's in a colder environment, but it's worth not losing brain cells because you need that for cosplay.
Yeah, but so also like if you don't want to use hot glue, especially like on your body, which again for those of us who do drag, which we don't do the
Super
things,
bullshit to ourselves.
yeah, which we don't do the smartest things, so don't listen to us. But like E6000 super glue, like those are the things that you should use again in a properly
Contact cement.
yeah, properly ventilated area. And again, it's also allowing it to dry because like don't do it because hot glue is like that immediate thing. that's more of like a time management issue.
Like you have to do something right meow.
I'm a last minute.
Yeah, it's more of a time management issue. Because, like, if you're using E6000 or contact cement or those kind of things, allowing them to go overnight, it's so much better.
Yeah, just make sure anything you have to glue, give yourself a day or two before the con. If you're con crunching, just like make sure you have all your gluing done a day or two
Right.
before.
Again, like it's hard. I know,
Yeah.
for con crunching, but hot glue also. So as someone who has literally like burned the entire part of this finger before, being like, I need to finish this. It's got. I get it.
My mouse ears were hot glue. I gave myself a 3rd-degree burn on my finger with low temp hot glue.
Right.
I haven't burned myself yet.
But they do make
You like that.
they do make silicone fingertips that you can use if you have to use hot glue. I wish I had known that when I made my mouse ears, because reasons. But another glue is Gorilla
She's
Clear. Is really good.
She's
It's not as strong and potent as E6000. It works just as well. Still should be ventilated, but not as bad. I actually prefer the Gorilla Glue over E6000 now, simply because my workspace is different.
I have like 8 kinds of glues at home. At
So
this point.
also,
And-
Gorilla Glue will also I also find that Gorilla Glue works better, but you definitely have to clamp it and just
Yes.
leave it for a long time. Like don't touch it for forever.
I
Like,
will
quite
use like
literally.
painter's tape if I can't clamp it. Like if it's foam armor and you can't clamp it, I will painter's tape everything out of it. I will use a roll of painter's tape on a breastplate, a foam breastplate with Gorilla.
So yeah, again,
with the
Gorilla Glue's great. However, don't get on your fingers because again, you will literally.
It won't come off.
Yeah, do not use it for wigs. We know some girls who have done that, and that is a poor choice.
Yeah, the way
That
I'm
is
looking
a-
at you, I'm like, someone has done that from experience.
yeah.
Like the concern that I immediately
Yeah.
had.
Okay, so you had a question as well. Yeah.
What fabric glue would you recommend?
Fabric glue?
Oh, I don't
Sewing.
I've used fabric glue. I actually like the iron-on kind, especially. So I have a Sailor Venus costume, and the ending hem is a very like flat hem that I can't use seams, and I also don't like to sew. So I put it's. Do you know what I'm talking about with the? Yeah, you just iron it on, and it's got a nice flat finish. I've done that for many no-sew type things. I've done a character from Resident Evil 4, and I did like these boot covers, and to sew it down, I just overlapped it.
You're
And
Lady Dimitrescu, aren't you?
I have done Lady Dimitrescu. Yeah, that's my main Shut up! You know me from TikTok?
Yes, we do.
You look familiar.
What?
You did the fly swatter.
Yes. Okay. Good. A different fly swatter today.
You can also they also make double-sided tape, not the craft double-sided tape. There's different types because you can have like the picture mounting double-sided tape, and then there's the sewing double-sided tape. Get the sewing double-sided tape. It has you have to peel off the paper. And I use that for bag making a lot. It really does hold.
Makes sense.
It holds the seams down. It holds everything down. If you are sewing, you can sew through it.
Stops fraying.
It stops the fraying, and it's great. If you're sewing, I use clips rather than pens, even if I'm using a woven fabric, because it's easier. And again, I learned to sew like spandex, and I wasn't told it was hard. Oh,
Yeah.
Do you find that when you use double-sided sewing tape, that when you're sewing through it, does it stick on your needle? Because like I've
Sometimes.
accidentally used non-sewing
Sometimes.
Velcro on things,
what you
and
can
that
do,
just destroys your needle.
an alcohol
That
wipe,
makes sense.
just wipe it down. They do. You just wipe. They also have non-stick needles
But like just going through the fabric in general, like if I was doing a skirt like this, like that's a long bit of
Yeah,
sewing. Do you find that it sticks at all, or
No,
or
not
is it
really.
it's not quite sticky enough for that?
It is not. There are some that are extra sticky, and like I said, if your needle starts to gum up and you can see it, just take the thread out, grab an alcohol wipe the needle down, rethread, and just keep going. It does work, so you don't have to change the needle. A sharper needle is best when going through the double-sided tape, only because anything sharper works better. In the kitchen, a sharp knife is a safe knife. A duller knife is dangerous. I've only cut
Unless you're
myself
like
with.
I don't cut myself. Apparently, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I barely know how to cook.
I bleed for my cosplays.
Just a slight stupid question. Can you sharpen needles?
No.
How?
No.
Okay,
Did that answer your question earlier?
They're really too short. Too small. No, you can't.
Did your question get answered earlier? Because I've also used the glue for like the Roxanne Wolf, the shoulder pads, because I can't iron it on because it's foam and fabric. So that's when I used fabric glue.
But yeah, I just throw the needle away and get a new one.
Yeah, that's what
You just buy them in bulk.
Also, Gemtech is a really good brand. That wasn't.
It is
Any
a
other questions?
What is your favorite color?
Yes.
You have to go back and warn yourself not prior to regardless of the glue and like disclosing that. Like, what other tips would you give yourself from the past, or like anything that might prevent something or something you want to work on personally?
Don't be scared.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, you only learn by doing. So like, just do it.
Don't
Like,
let your dreams become memes.
Yeah. Just do it.
Do it. Do it.
Another like more practical tip.
It sounds so ridiculous, but I said that I couldn't sew. I taught myself how to sew 6 years ago. And now I'm making my bag. I make bags. I make
Girl,
my
get that bag.
My carpet bag is right down there. I did make it. I made this. I make everything. If you saw Eva Queen yesterday, I made it. And it's I never thought that I could sew. So
I just don't like to
do
sew.
it. I mean, it is I have a love-hate relationship with all of my sewing machines. I have one that has been in timeout for 2 weeks. I may go back to it. I don't know. It's still in timeout. My serger hates me. My Juki loves me. I love my Juki. We're best buds. But
Like smash or pass for sewing machines.
I know.
This is kind of weird.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally kidding.
it's the way it is. All of my sewing machines do something different. But if I could say anything to just keep going. If you mess up, toss it aside. You learn something, do it again.
Did you have any
Keep
hesitations or anything that you were worried about?
Honestly, there are moments of hesitations where I feel like sometimes what I'm trying to do is really not up to par, or maybe not up to someone's standards sometimes, but I am able to quell those spots.
What about your standards?
Yeah.
It's
Are they up to
your
your standards?
I'm a bit of a perfectionist. That's the problem.
I feel that.
I feel that.
You
I think
just
we
have to keep
all
practicing.
feel that.
that
Yep.
vision I have in my mind and just fully convey it, because I become really tough on myself.
I feel you. No, and that's
So-
totally normal.
So 2 things. Number 1, I'm not that great at makeup, and people here
Oh,
are like, oh my
baloney.
god, you're so good at makeup, and I'm like, ugh. Do you know what the kids came for today? Not symmetry. Do not look too close at my eyebrows. They do not match.
But they're close sisters,
but-
they're cousins.
But they're
they're
on.
girl-
They're on my face. So do you know what the kids came for today? They came for just my face. Like you have to. I'm also very much a perfectionist, and I want things to be perfect. You have to let it go and just enjoy the part of it. But also number 2. So another thing with sewing, which we were talking about earlier, I maybe overpin things. So she was talking about she uses the clips. I pin the shit out of stuff.
There's no such thing as overpinning.
So I put a pin like I'm like, oh, this is too many pins. No, just. But also, it's like
There is
your comfort.
never
Like do what you need to do in order to do it. I don't care what someone else is doing. I don't care what other people do in order to like make their stuff or how they do their face or whatever. Do what you need to do in order to make yourself feel good. And
Right.
make and also and sometimes not all the time, but sometimes you have to go, this is good enough for this 11 o'clock panel on Farpoint Sunday. Like sometimes that's just what it is. Like you kind of have to be good with yourself about that.
Can I give you an example? When I was first making my necklace for Lady Dimitrescu, I didn't know how to make jewelry. I just kind of like figured it out. And I'm not super happy with it. I didn't have the right tools. So I handmade from like the clay that you can bake, like that's in different colors. I handmade it with like pimple popper tools because that's all I had, and it was like sticky and stuff. Eventually my friend gave me a 3D printed version, but at that time there were no outfits, like no screenshots or anything from the game, so I just worked off of like a little trailer image. And yeah, I'm a perfectionist, so it took me hours and hours and hours. So it's a balance of like how much time and sweat and tears and stress do you want to put in it, or do you just want to go with it? And people will still at a convention go, yes queen, I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
Either way, conventions are so supportive.
Yeah.
It's and I was a workmanship judge last night. I
Ooh.
do a lot of workmanship judging, and I will tell
Don't
you
look too closely at my stuff.
exactly
don't
what
look
I
at me.
tell everybody who comes up to me. Oh, I don't want to enter workmanship because I could never compare to XYZ. We don't, as a workmanship judge, or even just a masquerade judge in general, we don't look at costume A and costume B. Even if they are both Luke Skywalker from the same costume and everything, you don't compare. You only compete against yourself because everybody's take on a costume is different. And that's what makes cosplay, at least for me, and costuming fun.
Yep, cosplay's different for everyone.
I like to do my own thing. I like, my 50s Yondu Poppins. I love it. With my prototype thing.
Yes. So you had.
Did you see it?
Oh, I see
Does this
that.
have to do with more of the, I don't know if you've covered this already, the business side of cosplay? When it comes to being a crafter, right? Do you all have, because I know artists have this and writers do too, is there like a fair like price sheet that you would say, or do you find that if someone came to you and said, I love what you do as a designer, do you have like hourly rates or do you have flat rates or like how do you all decide if you're going to take on a
I would never.
commission? What would be the best way to approach a cosplayer?
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Cosplayers underrate themselves.
Oh, 100%.
They
Totally.
I've never met a cosplayer who charges like proper amount of time and skill. And people in the community will still tell them it's way too expensive because a lot of cosplayers are like broke college students.
Right.
It's just what it is. Know your audience type thing. But there might be some who would, like in the drag community, drag people tend to like spend more on wigs and stuff because they know the quality.
Yeah.
To my knowledge,
Yeah,
from what
sure.
I've seen. Not speaking for all of drag, but I personally had a friend who she's like, let me make you a Snow White. And I was more than willing to pay her more than she asked for, but she's like, it's fine. She told me she would never, ever make a costume for someone again because it's a lot more stressful. Making it for yourself, you're able to forgive yourself, but you have to perfect it and have no issues and still make sure it fits and all that for other people. So I admire anyone who does commissions. It's
Yeah,
a
I was
lot.
gonna say,
I
'cause
did one.
commissions are very hard because when you're making other cosplayers that I know, when you're making something for yourself, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna fit it on my arm. When you don't have that person right there with you,
Right.
it's more difficult. So it's like you want to put that in your price to be like, oh, well, you're not right here, so I need like your exact measurements and give me all of these things. But then when you're in the middle of making it, it's like, shit, I need like your weird, like in the middle.
forearm,
Yeah, like the
and the
weird
length to
forearm. Like,
elbow.
it's very
Yes.
hard to put commissions on stuff. People who do commissions, bless them. Absolutely.
Would it be easier on like accessories to enhance the costume?
So I would say
Sometimes.
accessories, like for example, like making a weapon, making like things that don't necessarily matter about the
Props.
size. I would say like props. Yeah, I would say like that would be more of a thing. I am also very blessed where I have friends who make things for me, and even though they
Sam Apple. Do you know Sam Apple?
I do know Sam
Yeah,
Apple.
he makes stuff for me
Yes.
too.
And again, like they make things, and it's like, oh, this is fine. It's like, well, I want to pay you something, but if you don't tell me how much that is, then it's kind of whatever. But so again, I have no idea. A friend of mine made a giant gun for me, and I'm like, oh, well, how much is this? They're like, oh, it's fine. You don't have to worry about it. I'm like, but it's a giant gun that you spent like probably 4 days
Supplies,
3D
time,
printing,
crying,
so
bleeding.
it is a thing. Any cross person who makes stuff, pay them extra. Again, I
Tip them.
I quite literally don't know, like, because none of us have. There's not a standard like, here's the spreadsheet. This is what this costs.
I do sell my bags, and that's the only thing I sell. I won't make a costume for somebody. I did that before.
Right.
It ended terribly. I'm not ever doing it again.
You're done.
I'm done. Yeah.
Right.
It was a classic Harley Quinn, and her body shape was just not like any body shape that I'd ever seen or dealt with, and she lived miles and miles away, so I couldn't even fit it. It was gross. Never again. But what how I ended up pricing my bags is how much the fabric, how much all of the materials cost. Like my garment or my carpet bag down there, it's really heavy, Amanda. It's got books in it. But, I mean, it's huge.
You made this entire bag?
I made this bag, yes. I made this bag. It's got a clasp. I just can't close it right now because it's got the husband's books
It's
in it.
massive.
It is
There's
huge.
a lot.
Yeah, there's
It holds a lot of stuff. It's got like 7 or 8 bags in it. It's got all sorts of stuff. But how I do it
Really is a Mary Poppins bag.
how much I could start pulling stuff out. How much the fabric actually cost. I mean, this is upholstery fabric, which is more. All of the foam interfacing. I've got the handles. I've got the hardware. The bottom. I have purse feet, and yes, I did my logo.
Okay.
Just things like that. And then I figure out, okay, well, how much time does it take me to make one? Well, at my job, I make X dollars an hour. So does this bag took me probably from start to finish, cutting out and to the finished product. This probably took me 2 days.
Okay.
About 48 hours. Now, I don't charge my hourly rate for that 48 hours because then this would be a horribly expensive bag, and I don't do that. But I take the time that it takes me, plus the fabrics involved that I have to use, and then I come up with what my market, because, if I was in New York City, the market would have a higher price. Well, I live just outside of Hershey, Pennsylvania. My market is not. How dare you?
I didn't know you noticed that.
Poor Groot. You stay in the carpet bag. You're safe here. But that's really what I come up with. You have to really know the time limit. you know, how long, because, and a lot of people won't take their time into consideration. I'm sorry, if I am making a bag for somebody and it's going to take me 3 to 4 days to make, they're paying me for my time, because that's time away from my children. That's time away from doing stuff for me. That's time.
Plus, it's an original piece too.
And it is an original piece. None of my tube,
So
bag
again,
is put
There's
together.
no real spreadsheet or like thing
Just
for
make
this.
sure you're taking
So-
care of them.
Unfortunately, we're at the end of our time.
Yeah,
Is that it?
definitely
Do we have time
take
for one more
care
question, or are we
of
done?
makers.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
I have to be next door
Yeah, but
in
it's
4
all good.
minutes. Yeah.
In 2 minutes.
So thank you all so much for coming.
And bye.
Everybody, happy birthday to Violet.
Happy birthday, Violet!
We love her. She's adorable. But yeah, I have to go next door.
Okay.
Thank you all so
Bye.
much for being here.
Thank you all
We have
for
a roses
coming.
are red cake for a Violet.
Yes,
Who's pink?
Yes, yes.
Also, people extremely undersell
Happy birthday,
themselves.
darling.
Oh yeah.
Uh huh,
people
for
know.
sure.